from NBC News. This is Today.
Your children well.
Today's Moms is brought to you by Vicks Nature Fusion Cough and Cold Medicine. Powerful multi-symptom relief flavored with real honey.
It's time for Today's Moms and the touchy topic of spanking. Despite the warnings and the criticism, you might be surprised to hear that 4 out of 5 parents still spank their kids. And you might be one of them as well.
So is spanking the dirty little secret most parents don't talk about? Dana Points is the editor-in-chief of Parents Magazine, and Dr. Janet Taylor is a psychiatrist.
Welcome,
Hi, ladies.
Thank you.
Well, the stats, I mean, we said one in the lead-in, but there's a stat that says 81% of parents admit to spanking, and I think it's 22% admit to doing it at least once a week.
Yes, this was from our Parents.com survey that we just did, and we were sort of surprised to see that 81%, but it's actually very consistent with what other national studies have found. But the 1 in 5 parents who are hitting their kids once a week was also really stunning.
Did you break it down to what spanking meant to those different people? Does it mean a swat? Does it mean a belt?
It means hitting your child. And actually,
hitting your
if you look
child.
at the American Academy of Pediatrics definition of spanking, whether you hit with an open hand or you hit with an object such as a switch or a belt, it's all considered spanking.
Yeah, spanking is really about physical discipline and not to vilify parents who spank, even though it's not optimal, as we know. I think it's important to understand that there can be long-term consequences from spanking, and most parents don't understand that.
If your child's about to dart out into the street and he freaks you out and you grab his hand and your adrenaline's pumping and you're upset and you swat him on the bottom, that happens. But that just seems like part of parenting. You get frustrated sometimes and you get a little freaked out.
It's true, and if you look at the data, you'll see that 1 in 4 parents who say they've hit their kids describe it as just losing it. They just lost it in that moment, and you just need to look at how to do it differently the next time.
And to understand the context, because it depends on the age of a child. If a 2-year-old's going to dart, spanking them may not have any consequence for them. And the key point is that discipline is about teaching. It's not about punishment and control. And sometimes in the heat of the moment we lose that. But the key focus is to think about, what am I teaching my child by grabbing them or spanking them or picking up something, heaven forbid, about that I want to learn, because we all want to keep our kids safe.
So many single moms out there, though, one-parent families, and they're exhausted, they're doing everything, and what do you say to someone like that who's saying, oh, really, you have no idea what my life is like?
I think we say we understand your pain. However, if your child is under 5, spanking is not what you need to do. It's about timeouts, whether you agree with them or not. It's about understanding developmentally that a 1.5-year-old, a 2-year-old is going to climb, may hit you, may smack. They're not hurting you on purpose, to understand them developmentally. And there's a responsibility to being a parent, whether you're a single mom or not.
In fact, a child who is hit is more likely to then turn around and hit. So you're only going to make the problem worse by hitting them as a discipline method.
A generational thing, because I remember all of us were talking in the makeup room. We're like, oh yeah, I got spanked, I got slapped, and now it's such a taboo, and it doesn't feel like this group of us has grown up to be such terrible, aggressive people.
Right. It does. They're pretty consistent patterns generationally, but it's true that people who were spanked as children are more accepting of it. They're more likely to spank themselves. There's also regional differences. Interestingly, in the South in the United States, people are more likely to spank than they are in the North or the Midwest.
Definitely, and I think it's about balance. I mean, if you were spanked, but 5 minutes later your mom was giving you a hug or baking you cookies, then when you have warmth as a parent, then that can balance that. But if you were continuously spanked and talked to negatively, then you are going to be more likely to become aggressive and not understand what the parameters really are.
I'm going out this weekend to Phoenix, Arizona for an event for Child Help, which battles child abuse. And so when people lump that kind of thing in with true child abuse that we see there at Child Help, it's frustrating. We should keep very clear about what we're talking about.
And a key factor with child abuse, the intent is to hurt. And with spanking, most of us do not want to hurt our children. We just want to keep them safe, and we want to teach them a lesson.
That's a great distinction.
But it does escalate.
It can escalate. So it's not going to be the last time we're going to discuss this.
Thanks, ladies.
Thanks so much. Up next, Julie, the accidental housewife.